Now you can be as badass as Achilles, who, killed his way through the entire Trojan War, and it only took gods to restrain him from, the possibility of sacking the city of Troy. Or you could be as badass as Hercules, who completed his 12 trials on top of, holding up the sky for Atlas and other feats of strength. But you would never be as badass as this guy who shot suns out of the sky. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Ngo and I am the Chain Smoking Writer. Here we share the myths, legends and histories of the Chinese people from the first creation myth to the last imperial dynasty. More than 6,000 years worth of stories, one video at a time. And if you're interested to join us on this journey through time, please consider subscribing to the channel to be notified whenever a new video drops. Now, according to myths and legends of the old days, there were supposed to be 10 suns in the sky, and these 10 suns are supposed to be the children of the solar goddess Hou Yi, and she will often bring them to the furthest reaches of the eastern seas to bathe and to play in the water. And after bathing the suns, the 10 suns will perch themselves up on a nearby tree to rest and to dry off. And they will each take a turn perching on the tip of the tree, right at the top of the tree, every single night while they rested. When dawn came, the solar goddess would take the sun that's perched right at the top of the tree on a trip across the sky in a solar chariot that was drawn by 9 majestic dragons. Now, these 10 suns rotated amongst themselves to provide the warmth and light to the world. This went on for, day after day, month after month, years after years. For thousands of years, this routine and this rotation did not change. Now, one night, as the suns were resting in the tree, they hatched a cunning plan.
I've got a plan so cunning you could put a tail on it and call it a weasel.
And when dawn came the next morning, the suns ignored their mother and they all whooshed out into the sky at the same time. And they played tag, they sprayed their flames at each other, and they got up to all sorts of mischief, just like any children would. I mean, yeah, technically they are thousands of years old, but still they are children. And of course, the solar goddess, being alarmed, tried in vain to call them back and to rein them in. However, as any parent would know, it is all but an impossible task to control a group of unruly children, in the throes of having the most fun in their lives. Now, this same thing happened over and over again, over the next day, the day after, and it went on without end. And although the solar goddess wanted to discipline them and teach them a lesson, but the 10 children were really spoiled. Like really, really spoiled, and they ignored her totally, knowing that she doted on them so much and she would not bear to mete out any harsh punishments. So yeah, that's bad parenting 101 right there, So parents out there, take note. Don't be too afraid to discipline your kids, spare the rod and spoil the child, like these 10 sons here. So while this problem would be viewed as just a simple case of bad parenting, a parental issue, discipline issue, up in the heavenly realms, in the celestial realms, it was an extinction level catastrophe in the mortal realm, the realm of man. I mean, the combined heat, can you imagine that? The combined heat and power that's coming off 10 suns in the sky at once, the destruction that it will cause. So obviously the land burnt and the rivers and streams dried up. Fires raged across, mountains and plains, killing countless numbers of living beings. I mean, man and beast alike. Many of them were burnt and killed. And fishes cooked in the rivers itself before the water of the rivers and streams dried up themselves. And people who were lucky or unlucky to survive the heat wave died of thirst as all the water sources dried up, and monsters that were hiding in the woods or the waters came into human settlements in search of food as their natural prey died off. Now, in the beginning, I guess the first couple of days, people thought that it was just a fluke of nature, maybe, and they had hopes that this unnatural, this fluke and this freak of nature would, this phenomenon would just go away on its own. But as days went by and things did not change, they were thinking like, yeah, we better do something about this before we are all totally wiped out. So they went to seek out this lady named Nürou. And as the name suggests, Nürou literally translates to woman ugly. So as the name suggests, she was a pretty ugly woman, you know, with a cracked, tan skin and hair that was like dried yellow straw, you know, just generally ugly. However, she was the most powerful witch in the land, and she had a heart of gold and very compassionate to the people, and was always ready to help anyone in need. And so the people sought her out to ask her to pray to the heavens for rain to alleviate the heat wave. And so Nürou was dressed up as a drought spirit and carried up to a hilltop on a colorful sedan chair made of a variety of wood and vines. And the people accompanying her, the parade that sent her up to the hill, were beating on gongs and drums to announce their arrival. And they danced around her as part of the ritual to be performed. And when they were done, they hid themselves from the fierce heat and rays of the sun. They hid themselves in a nearby cave to leave Nürou alone to perform her miracle. However, under the fierce glare of the suns, the normally powerful Nürou could do nothing more than just prostrate herself before the heavens and pray silently for help from the gods above. And time passed as she was mercilessly baked, you know, under a cloudless sky. The fluids in her body slowly evaporated into the air, and the fats in her body seeped through her skin as oil and dripped onto the dry, parched earth. Now, every breath she took was like someone shoving burning hot coal into her lungs. And when she finally could not take it anymore and she tried to shield her face and her head with her sleeves, her hands could move just about an inch off the ground before all strength left her and she collapsed into the scorching earth. Now, the people were alarmed at this turn of events. They thought she could do something, and the alarmed people in the caves rushed out to check on her. But by this time, all they could find on the ground was a desiccated corpse. Now, Yao at this time, the Red Emperor, was the ruler of the land. When Yao heard about the news of Nürou's demise, he was shocked. I mean, the most powerful witch in the land could not do anything about the situation they are in. He could not just stand around and do nothing while his people, you know, suffered this merciless fate. And so, you know, he had to try something even if he did not have so much power. But the only thing he could do was to pray with all his heart and appeal to the Jet Emperor of the Celestial Realm to help him alleviate the sufferings of his people. Now, the Jet Emperor, the big God King guy in the sky, heard the desperate pleas of help from the sovereign of man, and he decided that he needed to do something. So he summoned the best sharpshooter of the Celestial Realm, this guy named Yi, and he bestowed upon Yi a bow, the color of the deepest red, and 10 arrows whiter than the cleanest snow. And he gave Yi a mission. You know, he was to come to the mortal realm and to pretend to want to shoot the sons, just to intimidate them, to intimidate these 10 unruly and undisciplined sons into submission. However, he was not to, really shoot to kill, as in like, it wouldn't do to kill the offspring of a goddess, right? And so that was Yi's mission, to come down here to intimidate the sons and to scare them into submission and scare them into behaving themselves. And while he was there, he was to kill any monsters that he come across that was terrorizing the realm of man. So when Yi arrived in the land of man, in the mortal realm, the scenes of death and devastation broke his heart. And anger, an unexplainable anger. Well, I don't think it's unexplainable with so much death and devastation going on. He had all the right in the world and all the reasons in the world to be angry. And this anger, filled him as he raised his head and saw these 10 sons having the time of their life, playing around and, monkeying around with each other, totally oblivious to the sufferings and the deaths and the devastations that they have caused. So he dashed up to the peak of the nearest mountain and he drew his bow and nocked his arrow and took aim at one of the sons. And, in an attempt to scare them, to intimidate them, to make them behave. However, the sons just looked at him and laughed. They even taunted him, they did not take him seriously at all. To them, it was like, what's this, a joke? A joke? You think you're going to shoot us down from the skies and, kill the offsprings of a goddess? Nah, you're not going to do that, man. Even our mom is not disciplining us. Who are you? Now, if Yi was angry before this, now he felt a rage that he had never felt before in his life. He sprinted across 99 mountains, charged through 99 dry riverbeds, and crossed over 99 valleys to finally reach the coast of the eastern seas. Now, he scaled the highest cliff on the coast and he drew his bow with 10,000 pounds of draw strength, aiming at the nearest sun. And with a loud swish, Hou Yi loosed the first of his 1,000-pound arrow and hit its target with dead precision. A giant fireball fell from the sky, painting the sky and the land a fiery red before extinguishing itself in a cloud of steam in the sea below. Now, having seen what happened, the remaining 9 sons were aghast at the death of their brother, and they scampered for safety. They tried to escape. And however, by this time, the people, seeing that one of the sons has been killed, they were afraid of retributions or vengeance from the remaining 9 sons. And so they urged Hou Yi on to shoot all of them down, kill all of them, leave no loose ends behind. And by this time, Yi did not really need the people to encourage him or push him on. His fury, his rage was enough to set him into a frenzy. So shot after shot, he loosed the arrows, and each flash of brilliant white leaving the blood-red bow was accompanied by a falling fireball and a cloud of steam above the seas. The people cheered as the air cooled considerably with every hiss of a son dying in the sea. However, it was at this time that Yao, remembered, and he realized that although they hated the sons for the havoc and the devastation that they have caused, the people still needed the warmth and the light from the sun to live on land, to provide the necessary energy to grow crops and stuff like that. They needed the sun as much as they hated it. So he ordered one of his men to sneak up behind Hou Yi and steal one of these white arrows from his quiver. And thus, when Yi shot down 9 sons, he ran out of arrows. And that's why we have 1 son left in the sky today. So Yi is obviously a hero, to the man for saving the land from extinction level catastrophe. However, the solar goddess hated him for killing her sons. I mean, forget the fact that her sons killed literally thousands and millions of people on land. Yeah, she hated Yi for shooting down 9 of her sons, and she started spreading rumors about Yi in the celestial realms and made up excuses and was, complaining to the Jade Emperor non-stop. Yeah, just imagine a 1,000-year-old Karen in this scenario. Yeah, so she finally, annoyed enough people and make enough noise that the Yi was banished from the celestial realm to suffer as a mortal. He was banished and thrown to the realm of man to suffer as a mortal and to be forever cut off from the immortals and the gods and the deities. Now, having saved humanity and all of mankind and the world, all of men welcomed him and recognized him as the now mortal god of archery. Now, there is still a further story regarding Yi's time on Earth that we will talk about in the next episode. And I hope you enjoyed this story, and if you did, it would help the channel out a lot if you could just smash the like button. And if you want to be notified when the next installment of this series comes out, remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified whenever a new video drops. And if you would like to connect with me or support the channel in other ways, either on Patreon or other social media platforms, all the links are available in the comments in the description section below. And if you have any thoughts or feedback or comments regarding the video or the stories, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. I do personally go through all of them, and sometimes we do have some pretty interesting banter going on. And I guess that should be it for now, and I'll see you in the next episode.